Game of Thrones Season 8 is upon us in a matter of seconds, let's say. God, so many people are going to die. And we're here to talk about every single one of them. My name is Vernon, and I'm here joined with Chandler.
Let's do it.
The rules are really simple. If we can agree that somebody's going to die, they're dead. Yeah, and if we think somebody's going to live, they live. But if we can't agree, we're going to roll a d20, and we're going to let fate decide. Even someone lives, and odd someone dies. Is that you concur?
The only true justice.
I like it.
As an example, and I'll let you roll, Chandler. Hot Pie, Arya's longtime friend, baker extraordinaire. Is he gonna live?
Definitely gonna live. And
What?
He's gonna give Arya the perfect wolf bread.
Again?
But
the perfect one.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Inn at the Crossroads is going to be, like, we're going to see a shot of it, and the White Walkers are just going to be passing it, and then, like, we're going to see zombie hot pie.
Zombie hot pie.
I do not agree.
I like it.
So, Chandler, roll...
19.
Shit. That's odd.
Yeah. Zombie
hot pie. That's going to be my Twitter handle. It's an X. Boom. There's so many characters. There's like 54 characters or 55. It's however many we make up in the show. I think it'll be helpful to divide them where they were at the end of last season.
Yeah, it's perfect.
A lot of characters were at Winterfell already.
Or heading to Winterfell.
Then that's the group that I need to get clear.
Yeah.
Who's on a boat with Daenerys?
We got Dany, Jon, Tyrion.
That's fuck.
And all of her advisors. Missandei.
Is Grey Worm? Yeah. Is Varys there?
I think Varys is with them.
Did Brienne and Podrick go with them?
No, Brienne and Podrick are in Winterfell.
They did not go to that meeting?
No, because Brienne is Sansa's sworn protector.
I thought because Sansa didn't go, that Brienne went. And Podrick was there, and they were, like, with Bronn, but they weren't at the big meeting.
I think
Brienne was there with Jaime and had a scene... Seeing Jaime.
Yeah, she totally did see. Sansa did sin.
This is the type of research we needed to do before we started recording. The rules are for chumps. So
she is with Tyrion, and you're
on
right.
The boat.
You're totally right. And she reunited with the Hound, where he like respected her.
Where is the Hound?
The Hound is with Tyrion and all of them as well.
Wow. Okay, Jorah was there.
And Jorah's always with Dany.
Bronn took Podrick off because he's contractually obligated to not be in a scene with Lena Headey. Lena. Did Podrick not go on the boat? Did Podrick get, like, whisked off to a brothel with Bronn?
Yeah, left behind with Bronn, very possibly, but...
But then Jaime heads north.
I'm most certain that Jaime is going to pick up Bronn.
But he headed off by himself.
That's the last shot we see is him heading north, but, like, Bronn's his main man. Bronn's not going to stay in King's Landing with Cersei.
Probably not.
His likely place is to have an awkward conversation with Daenerys after he's shot.
So maybe Jaime's first scene is like he's on his own, and then up come from behind him like 40 Lannister soldiers and Bronn and Podrick like, we're here to back you, Jaime.
Yeah, we heard what happened. Fuck that lady.
Okay, so we have all these characters on a boat heading to Winterfell. Mm-hmm. That's not where we're going to start. We're going to start up at the wall, the last thing that the season left us at, with Tormund Giantsbane and Beric Dondarrion. It was like the last thing, and we didn't even know if they were alive. We had to get confirmed by later executives.
Most certainly, I never thought they were going to die. We saw the wall come down. We knew that they were on top of the wall, and we did see some people fall off the wall. But I do not think that was them.
The wall comes down all the way, or just a middle
just a middle chunk.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing about Tormund is that he's the last wildling.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, I guess Gilly is kind of a wildling, but she's like a Craster wildling, so it's like a different thing.
Yeah.
He's the last character who has a name.
Yeah,
who's a representation of that story.
Of that group of people.
So what is his point? What more does he have to meet Brienne and kiss her before they die?
I actually do think Tormund will die saving Brienne.
So something to do with Brienne.
Yeah.
You say die eventually.
Yeah.
Not dead now.
Not dead now, eventually. But he will die this season.
I completely agree. I mean, in the past, he's supposed to have had children, like many children with many wives.
Yeah.
But he's been reduced to being kind of interested in Brienne. I think that is really all there is left. To nod to Jon on the battlefield and then die fighting.
Because Brienne's not interested in him. No. So the show isn't going to end with them getting together.
No. Well, with him, next to him, is Beric Dondarrion.
Beric Dondarrion.
He talked big game about being needed last season.
Yeah,
on the quest up north.
He has a role to play.
Yeah.
Yet still. The very fact that they reintroduced him into the show is crazy to me because of his book.
What happens in the book?
In the book, Beric Dondarrion is constantly resurrected by Thoros of Myr.
And that was in the show.
Yeah, that was in the show.
Which is surprising that it was in the show and yet they cut his ultimate purpose.
So Lady Catelyn at the Red Wedding, her throat's slit, she's thrown into the river, and the Brotherhood Without Banners, Beric Dondarrion, happens upon her and gives her the kiss of life, killing himself and bringing her back to make the book's greatest character,
Lady Stoneheart. Who she's killing Freys and hanging him in the woods, and she's got...
And a completely different character.
There's a lot of stuff.
Catelyn
It makes the books like 100% worth a read.
Just to know the difference.
Kind of, yeah. It feels like Beric Dondarrion is back to do something around giving his life
for another
to
character.
resurrect somebody.
So I think that another important character, I don't want to say yet, we're not on them.
Yeah, we're not on them.
Is going to die. Mm-hmm. But then maybe because they're the ultimate hero they need, their death was ill-timed.
So we'll put a pin in that ultimate hero we need, huh? But we're saying that Beric Dondarrion before the end of the show is going to give his life
for another character.
All right, he's done. That was an X. Now, there's also the only remaining Night's Watch character, Edison Tollett, who's the Lord Commander since Jon abandoned his watch after getting murdered. Do you think any of the Night's Watch are going to make it, or we're going to see him next to Hot Pie as a walker?
I do think he will make it, but only to show you that he's alive and then he'll die. But I guess I do like zombie him idea, fight like all the Knights brothers fighting Jon.
Well, what's your final answer, Chandler?
Yeah, they're dead.
No, I don't. I think he should live.
Yeah, I'll definitely roll for that.
What is it?
16.
It's an even number?
Even number.
Hey, man.
He survives.
Wow. The whole season.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's great.
He's been there from the beginning.
Yeah.
And he was not a bully.
No, he was one of the good Knights brothers.
Yeah. So
the friend to Jon.
It was always meant to be. Happy we could do that for him. Okay, we're going to talk about the Greyjoys.
Perfect.
Right quick. Theon.
Starting with Theon.
Well, I mean, everybody else is just a kind of a part of his story, is it not?
That's totally true.
For Theon specifically, I can't imagine him not having a happy ending because I don't know why I watched years and years of torture.
Just to see him die.
Even for a good cause, that's not what I want to see.
As well as what we were left off with this past season, Jon telling him he's a Stark and a Greyjoy.
I loved that.
Love that. Then Theon goes down to the beach, fights the guy that was calling him out.
I thought that was lame just because I didn't care about that guy.
But it's the perfect way to present himself as a Greyjoy.
You're right.
He gets back up.
And he's taking all those guys to go after...
20 men.
20 men.
And the fun facts.
Why is that so fun?
Bronn's famous line, give me 20 good men and a...
I can storm the bitch?
I'll impregnate the bitch.
Oh, he was talking about the Eyrie.
The Eyrie.
The Eyrie. They say it's impregnable. Give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes. I'll impregnate the bitch.
Also,
she's unimpregnable.
Ramsay says, give me 20 good men.
So it's a constant callback. And so he's the person to actually do it, right?
Yes.
And what is his goal? Is he trying to mess up with Euron?
So Euron
has Yara.
And
Euron left the big meeting to go get the Golden Company, which is a bunch of sellswords that used to be Targaryen bastards back in the olden times. Is Theon gonna intercept him and win the whole Golden Company?
No, I do think the Golden Company will make it to Cersei, but I do also think that ultimately Theon and Yara will be the one, or maybe just Theon, since it's him rescuing his sister, like his sister tried to rescue him. It's the perfect way to redeem his character, cementing his Greyjoy, killing his uncle.
Yeah. See, I don't know if Theon's redemption comes with death or life. He doesn't have like a future that has to do with lineage, but I don't think the future of this show has to do with lineage. And it's just like living a good life. Like I want to just see Theon relaxing on a boat.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I want Yara to be queen, and I want them both to stab Euron at the same time.
Yes, I would love family takedown of Euron. He totally deserves it.
Yeah. What about I think it's Aeron. He's a brother and a point of view character in the books. He's like a priest. He did the drown ceremony for Euron. He's appeared once in the show. Do you think he will be ever mentioned in the last season? Do you think they'll call that actor back?
If he is, it'll be the coronation of Yara as the leader.
Just for a shot, yeah. But do you think he'll live?
They didn't give him any lines in the show.
He didn't become as important as he might be in the books.
Seeing him die wouldn't
have
as much
that's still a pretty good outcome for the Greyjoys.
Very optimistic about the Greyjoy outcome.
3 checks. And a big X on Euron. All right.
I also think Euron, when he returns to the show, will have his Valyrian steel armor from the books.
Oh, shit. Which will come in handy.
Which will come in handy against all the people coming at him with the Valyrian steel blades.
Who's coming at him?
Dany's army.
That's a thing. Like, where does the Grey Worm army go?
I believe the show ends with the Battle of the Throne, not the Battle of the Night King. I believe the Night King will be handled before the end of the show, and the ultimate battle will be for rule.
That's a big
different.
That's big deal kind of stuff. Let's get back to specific deaths. We're gonna go speed round. This is the time where we go quicker. Daario Naharis, the guy who Dany left in charge of Meereen, is he going to make an appearance?
He won't return.
No?
No.
Not going to be the leader of the Golden Company? The Crime Prince of Meereen?
No.
Not in it.
No return.
I agree. I think he won't appear.
Yeah.
And I give that a hearty X. Robin Arryn?
Robin Arryn.
He, he's at the Eyrie, which is unimpregnable. I've always wanted to see the Night King's army or dragons attack the Eyrie. One
of my favorite things I've heard about Robin Arryn is that he will return in this last season as a great warrior. Mm-hmm. Because throughout the entire show, they say he'll never be a great warrior and shows how awful he is time and time again. That's his only scenes, is that he's not a good warrior.
Yeah.
And I think he's just going to come out of nowhere on a horse with bows and be good. And it's going to be treated kind of as a joke, but also kind of as maybe the Eyrie will be left in good hands.
Wow. I disagree. Killed off screen. Roll a die.
20.
That was a 20. That's an even, which means you're right.
Yeah.
And not only is he going to live forever, but he's going to be a big warrior.
Yeah, he's going to be an important.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I think he'll claim Euron's Valyrian steel armor after he snatches that kill from the Greyjoys. Okay. Salladhor Saan. That is the pirate guy who is Davos's best friend.
Right.
He appeared multiple times.
He did.
And then just left. Is he going to be a part of the Golden Company?
I do think there's a possibility he might come back. Maybe here's Davos is fighting against one army, his friends in danger. I do see a possibility of Davos recruiting pirates to help.
And then would he just die?
Yeah.
Damn. He really made a bad decision.
Yeah.
I agree.
But a little redemption
I'd
for
like
his
to
character.
see him
a
because
selfish
I like
pirate character help in the
Davos.
end. Love Davos.
Davos. All right. One thing that I think is going to be helpful for us moving forward in our predictions is looking at the teaser trailer. It's the table map on Dragonstone. There's ice coming from the north, fire coming from the south. They meet in the center and form this crazy black ice wall. I understand what the ice from the north is. I'm a little unsure about what the fire from the south is. Do you think the Battle of Winterfell is going to take place with Daenerys and dragons, and then she and armies are going to come back down south and attack Cersei? And Cersei's going to do nothing until then?
I do think that Cersei is going to hear about everything going on in the War of Winterfell and not care. She's not going to send her soldiers. She's going to stay planted in the south where it's safe in her mind. And yes, eventually the remaining survivors of the War of Winterfell will head south. But I actually think the fire from the trailer isn't Daenerys, it's Cersei.
Yeah, cause it, like the Mad King at the beginning of the story, she'll burn the city. One thing about this trailer is that ice wall forms after the lions are engulfed in fire. I kind of imagined something happening up north, something happening down south, and then everybody converging at the neck, at the center, where the original treaty and agreement between the
children of the
forest
and the first men.
all that stuff. It feels like the series should end at the neck. But you said that the Night's King story will get wrapped up before we do the War for the Throne, and I think based on this trailer, I don't think that's necessarily right. I think something will happen with Cersei before the ice wave stops. I think it'll all kind of happen at the same time, which means that maybe some of the people we think are going to be at Winterfell aren't. Maybe Daenerys leaves one of her dragons at Winterfell with Jon and takes her and her dragon. I do agree that Cersei will burn the city like Aerys wanted to back in the day.
In an attempt to destroy the armies coming at her.
This is in-game talk. I want to go back. There are all the families, all the houses, of the North, which are the Karstarks, which has left Alice Karstark. The Umbers left only a kid, Ned Umber.
Little boy.
Then they got the fan favorite Lyanna Mormont. The Eyrie, who Robin Arryn, who we talked about, is not there. He's by himself in a castle. Bronn Royce is there in his stead with the whole Eyrie army. And the Glovers, represented by Old Man Glover, are there as well. 3 of these are represented by children and then their armies. So the armies, all dead. I can't imagine them surviving. I feel like the Eyrie will survive through Robin Arryn, as we've predicted. But the Glover, being the only one who's not represented by children, I think is going to be extinct. I think the Glovers are dead.
I can see that.
But the Karstarks, Umbers, and Mormonts, I think, will
live on, especially since they're children.
I think someone will be sent. My idea is Brienne. I think Brienne has been trying to save children this whole time. Because I can't imagine them leaving the children there.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Although there was that line in season 7 by Lyanna Mormont when Jon's like, we need to train everyone over the age of 10, boys and girls. And that Glover guy's like, you expect me to put a spear in my granddaughter's hand? And then Lyanna's like, you expect me not to fight like anyone else?
Huh. And against my point about Brienne taking children south, she has one of the few Valyrian steel swords and is a fantastic fighter.
And she's a complete necessity.
Huh. Okay. Brienne can stay. I think Mira, Bran's old friend.
Like it.
She is a Reed. Her father, Howland Reed, is the only person who was there at the Tower of Joy, which is where Jon Snow was born.
The only one who can really tell everyone that information to where it's believable. No one's...
Right. I think Mira is capable of saying, hey, the safe place to be right now is down in the swampy, misty lands of the Neck, which is where the big future possible dragon ice wall is going to form.
Mira's also a protector of children throughout the show.
Soups that. Maybe Lyanna Mormont will want to stay.
If they fight, they're archers. They're not on the front lines. They're back. Maybe you see that their arrows do something badass, and you're like, ooh, yay, Lyanna.
Interesting. Well, if they stay, I think most people at Winterfell are going to die. If it ends there, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's not how I imagine Game of Thrones ending. I imagine Game of Thrones being really fucking detrimental.
So
I feel like it's going to fuck up, man.
I heard a great theory that says the Battle of Winterfell, they'll all succeed. They'll kill the 100,000 of the dead White Walkers with all of their combined armies and might. But the Night King won't be there. The Night King would be riding south on his dragon to King's Landing, where he will kill more than 100,000. He'll have an army of 1,000,000. Maybe even make a deal with Cersei.
Holy fuck.
To take her populace in turns that he doesn't kill her.
Yikes. Well, that is a twist.
Yeah, that would be a major twist.
I think that would be fucking nuts. Holy shit.
Completely tear down the patriarchy in the process.
Well, I'm going to just try to give my life structure and go back to the list of characters. Because that's amazing. Can't even roll a die. That's some kind of shit. Davos.
Davos.
We talked a little bit about him already, but he is Jon's, hand. Which means if Jon is fighting at Winterfell, then Davos will fight at Winterfell. He's not really a fighter, but at the same time, I want him to live and go home to his wife on some island with all his children. I want him to live forever.
Also, his point in the show has always been as sort of an advice figure to some lord, Stannis, then Jon. But I actually think he'll end up being an advisor for Lyanna Mormont because he had such a good, close relationship with Stannis' daughter. There are moments when she's talking in the season 7 that it cuts to Davos being like, ooh, I like this chick.
Really?
So I think that'd be a really fun, he survives and is a mentor to a girl who doesn't really have a parental figure.
Or he could go home to his children, like, whatever, I don't care. But yeah, I think he's gonna live. If they defeat
He's a very
the White
touching
Walkers,
character.
I guess this new you just threw me for a loop, honestly, with this whole. It makes sense that the Night King would not be there without the Ice Dragon, and he would use that as a big move. But I don't know how mentally capable he is of strategy, but that would be the first instance of us being like, whoa, there's some strategy.
Yeah.
So I think Davos is gonna live. Check. Gendry? What the frick is the point of Gendry, man? Why did he come back? Him and Beric Dondarrion are just gonna die in an explosion spontaneously and like, ha.
Gendry's only real character point in the show, besides a friend of Arya, is a blacksmith. He was taken around. He's a good blacksmith too.
Okay, so he'll forge
forge
king's weapon?
Or the dragon glass weapons, or maybe even reforge Valyrian steel.
Right.
Maybe he's that good.
He could make he could like coat Arya's
needle and
Valyrian steel. Something
I would like
that.
to see that. At the same time, I don't want to see any other Valyrian steel sword destroyed. Like, I like all the swords and Valyrian steel weapons we have.
That's true. Maybe after, like, Theon comes with Euron's armor.
Perfect.
Which is being worn by Robin Arryn. But he's just a nice guy that Robin Arryn would just turn the armor over to making the swords.
Yeah.
I love Robin Arryn.
Yeah, Robin Arryn, hero of the story.
Hero. After he fills his job and makes weapons or is a blacksmith, is he just that forever? Like, he's a Baratheon, which means nothing to anybody anymore. What's the deal with all that?
I say he lives.
Ooh.
He's the surviving Baratheon, and he's legitimized by whoever's the ruler. He inherits Storm's End.
Yeah.
And continues that family line how it was meant to be.
That makes sense. I completely disagree. I'm going with explosion. Roll the die.
Explosion.
Is that a 19?
19.
Oh no! Oh, poor Gendry.
Fiery explosion.
Well, he's dead. I think you're right, but fate, bro. I think this is what the showrunners are doing, and I believe it. That's rules are for chumps. That's what happens. Here's a good one. Jorah Mormont.
Jorah Mormont.
Sure, he's at Winterfell. He can talk to Lyanna. But man, this poor guy.
He'll die.
He'll die.
He'll die trying to save Daenerys.
Yeah, that's what we think, but aren't they going to subvert our expectations? That's what everyone's thought since season 1. But I don't know why I feel like there's going to be something else.
He already betrayed Daenerys once and then earned her forgiveness. So it just seems like the only thing to do. He's not going to bang her.
Nope. Not going to bang her. That's true. So he's got to die.
He's got to die.
Wow. I agree. I love Jorah Mormont, and I think his might be one of the most sad.
Also, he gives his family... He lets Jon Snow... Keep his family's ancient sword. And he has the line, give it to your kids. As if he senses that Jon may be the one to end up with Daenerys. And he wants to have a small part of him in that family's legacy.
Yeah, I really love Jorah. And his dad was the Night's Watch guy. I mean, I don't know. It would be nice to see him survive and become, like, leader of the Night's Watch or something.
Yeah, that would be perfect justice for
something like that.
Shall we roll for it?
Oh, shit. It makes me so nervous. Yeah, Jorah. I love you, Jorah. Good luck. It's an 11.
Oh, man.
That makes sense. Poor guy.
Yeah, poor Jorah.
Silence for Jorah Mormont. I did not get a firm on Mira Reed and Howland Reed. I think they're going to live, and we're going to learn a lot about the Reeds.
Yes.
And whoever they take with them, maybe they just say, like, we have to go... Mira says, I have to go prepare something for the last episode. I'll be back later.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam. He's at Winterfell, right? He was just talking with Bran.
Yes, he was just talking with Bran.
They have big news.
And have important information. He has proof of the legitimacy. Bran has witness to the birth. Yeah. Together, they have the information to give Jon to... tell him who he truly is.
Do you think they're going to give that information?
No.
I don't think so either. Someone's going to get in the way.
It started with a lie about incest. It's going to end with a lie about incest. Oh, nice. They will not tell Jon that he is a Targaryen because when he comes back...
He'll be holding hands.
They'll see that Jon and Dany are together. And they'll see that that's probably the perfect chance the Seven Kingdoms have of surviving, and they'll destroy the evidence.
I think that's a great idea. But with the specifics of is Sam going to live? Absolutely. I think he's the maester.
Yeah, he's going to be Archmaester.
Of the whole world.
He's going to write the Song of Ice and Fire.
Absolute. You're 100% right. He's like Samwise Gamgee. That's why his name's Sam, because Sam writes the Lord of the Rings.
Yep, it's symbolism.
It's pretty... It's not symbolism.
George R. Martin has also admitted that the closest character to himself is Sam.
It's the beard. Do you have the time? Where did he leave Gilly and little Sam? At his house?
We're to assume that they're still traveling together.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because he took her to the Citadel
They're
with
both
him,
at Winterfell?
and they did ride off together.
I gotta say, I came in here thinking that everyone who was going to survive the Battle of Winterfell must leave, because it's like Winterfell's gone.
Yeah.
But you might be right about this whole, like, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
That they will win, but then, like, oh shit, the ice is coming from the south now. And that means that this trailer is a teaser that's just lying to us, making us think what we should think.
Which is what I think both are.
Even the tombs, the catacombs.
The tomb catacombs.
I don't know if any of that scene is in the show.
Oh, no, none of that's going to end up in the show.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. I love that they would film something specifically meant to be a teaser.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any spoilers.
Not at all.
They did give a little bit of information that's interesting. With the bits of dialogue they have that go over the scene.
Yeah.
You get a stoned statue of Catelyn.
This horror that's come to my family. It's all because I couldn't love a motherless child.
How she promised to love Jon, but she couldn't. In a way, the trailer is trying to make you think that Jon is the prince that was promised. Mm-hmm. Everything about the show has been doing that.
Totes. I mean, the word promise makes us think of Ned and his promise to Lyanna. It's pretty much, I think it's almost as simple as that. Princess was promised, that's Azor Ahai, that's the savior of the world. That's the answer to everything. It's okay that it's Jon Snow. But, I mean, maybe it's not. We don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's Sansa.
Well, should I say my Azor Ahai theory?
No, the fact that you said that makes me want to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to go back. I think Gilly and little Sam Jr. will be fine.
Yeah.
Do you think Archmaster Eberros... He's an actor, we know.
Yeah, from Harry Potter's.
Do you think that the Citadel, I think it's called,
might get destroyed?
Is going to get destroyed by the Golden Company first? Like, is any of that going to go down?
Yeah, I do think that. I think in the books, the Citadel is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, I feel like it might not in the show. I feel like we don't have time for it.
But maybe. If it is at all, it'll be like a quick, like, surprising scene.
Yeah, it could be something we hear about even.
Yeah.
Just like, oh shit. I agree either way, he's an old man, and I think Sam will replace him. I think he's dead by the end of the series.
For sure. Also, whoever survives is going to change the whole system. Like, you can't marry, that sort of thing.
You can't marry?
Yeah, you know how, like...
No more marriages?
No. In the Citadel with the Maesters or the Night's Watch, they're not allowed to take wives or have land. I think all of that's going to be done. Especially if Sam becomes the Archmaester, he's like, well, I have Gilly, so, like, screw that rule.
Okay, so you talked me into letting Brienne stay and fight.
Alongside Jaime.
And you think she's going to survive the whole series?
Mm-hmm.
The whole series?
Whole series.
What about Podrick?
Podrick might die.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't want him to, but...
I guess I just like the idea of him, like, getting to grow up. Like, he's such a kid.
He is. He has a little bit of an innocence about him.
Yeah, except his sexual maturity.
Yeah. So he'll either die or be Sansa's king.
Oh my god. Alright, we can roll for that. Podrick. 12?
12.
Podrick will live?
I
don't think he's Sansa's king.
I don't think he's Sansa's king.
They don't even know each other, really.
Podrick will also be a great warrior. He's been training alongside Brienne. She already had that line where she was like, he's been able to handle himself very well.
Right, we'll see that.
Yeah.
I guess I agree that Brienne will probably live. I like her, and I feel like I
and her oath will be kept in the end to protect the Stark children.
Well, we'll see about that. Speaking of the Stark children, the four, Sansa, Arya, Bran, and Jon, and they're all going to be at Winterfell. And the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
Yes.
Are they going to separate?
No, I think they stay together most of the season. We will have a lot of Stark scenes together.
I have several theories about what's going to happen to them. I'm sure you do too.
Yes, of course.
I want to start with Bran. Do you have something to say about Bran?
Well, I don't really think he's Bran anymore. He even says it. I'm not really. So I think in a way, Bran has kind of died.
And I think he will.
Yeah.
I think Bran's body will die, which will be a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
But that he will just be a part of the universe and the world. Like, he'll be the ravens and the trees. And he'll be able to speak from beyond to whoever he needs to.
He will also have some spectacular magic warding abilities that'll help.
Yeah. I mean, do you think... I agree about that. Do you think that if the Night's King is not at Winterfell, I think Bran will die then. I think he'll be a major death in that fight.
Yes. No, I can totally see that.
But where's this conflict between him and the Night's King? Is he going to be a mental conflict with the Night's King?
The same way how when he's having a vision, seeing the White Walkers, and the Night King touches him through the vision, scars him.
So Bran can touch him, the Night King, maybe.
Yes.
That sounds pretty baller.
But I do think that's how Bran will be killed. Through magic, through distance.
Well, I don't think Bran's mental will be killed. I think his physical will be killed in a physical way. I don't think he'll need to be magically killed. Do you think Bran is the Night's King from a different time?
No, I don't like that theory.
Just because he looks like him?
Yeah, that's where most of the evidence comes from.
The face.
The face.
Right.
But I think the Three-Eyed Raven and the Night's King have been talked about in the history of Game of Thrones for too long that I don't believe they're the same figure in any respect. I think that they're both opposing entities.
I agree.
But Bran, he's dead.
Okay. I think Jon will survive.
I think Jon dies.
In that fight?
I think...
Resurrected?
Yeah, I think...
Again? What?
I can only say my Jon theory without also connecting Dany.
Wait, do you think Jon... I'm talking about the Winterfell fight.
Yeah, I think Jon and Dany die.
In that fight? Mm-hmm. Hold the phone.
In my theory...
All right. Let's do it.
Jon and Dany are the ones who realize that it's up to the two of them to defeat the Night King. That it can only be one of them. And Jon will think it's him. He will go out in the fight, and he is the fighter, so it makes sense that he would be the one to go toe-to-toe with the Night's King. He will injure or weaken the Night's King in some way.
Bro, we were talking about how the Night's King isn't even in this fight.
That's a different theory, though.
What? I've been almost convinced of this theory.
Yeah.
My whole theory about not everybody dying at Winterfell revolves around this not being the real plan of the Night's King.
So then it still works with that. Jon and Dany can be present throughout the rest of the show, but I still think by the end of it, they're going to die.
Okay, when it comes time.
When it comes time to defeat
Night King
the Night
versus...
King.
We got Night King.
And we have this Azor Ahai theory that it has to be Dany or Jon.
Just for clarity, the Azor Ahai is who ended the long night the first time.
The first time.
By having a flaming sword.
Lightbringer. That he had to forge through multiple
which Stannis
trials.
thought he had. He had to like temper it for many nights and days and then kill something with it. And then he killed a lion with it.
And then he killed a lion with it and it didn't work. And then he killed his love with it.
And it lit on fire.
And it worked.
He killed his love. Like, what are we... I mean, that's pretty...
So I think that that's almost too literal. I think that instead of Azor Ahai killing Nissa was his wife, that she didn't get stabbed in the heart, she sacrificed herself. Stabbed in the heart is more a metaphorical way of saying sacrifice for love.
Yeah.
And as we know, a life pays for death, death pays for life.
Right.
It was through the sacrifice of Nissa that Azor Ahai was able to defeat the Night King or drive them back.
So is Dany gonna die still?
Yes.
Yes. First.
No. Jon dies first.
What? How?
Jon dies first because he's the brave man that goes into the... Dany has a line. I've had it with brave men sacrificing themselves for me.
Okay.
And that's exactly what he's going to do.
And the Night's King's going to kill him?
And the Night's King's going to kill him. But his death will be the Nissa sacrifice necessary to make the Night King vulnerable enough to die. And then the fight between the Night King and Dany on their dragons, Drogon and...
Makes sense.
Will be an epic showdown where they both kill each other.
And who becomes king?
Sansa.
Sansa
will be Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, Queen of the Realms.
What about Tyrion?
Maybe they'll stay married.
He used to be married to her.
They're married.
Fuck.
To further back up why I think Sansa ends up on the throne, Game of Thrones is loosely based off the War of the Roses in history between the Yorks and the Lancasters. Obviously,
The
Starks.
Lancasters and
Starks
the
and
Yorks.
the Lannisters. In that war, neither the Yorks or the Lancasters inherited the throne. For a while, it was Henry Tudor, who famously had multiple wives, killed most of them, or divorced others. So Henry Tudor is Dany because he was in France, but he had an ancient line to the throne, and when he came over, he used that line to have the people rile to his aid and inherited the throne. And then he had a bunch of queens. Dany's had a bunch of kings, or a bunch of men who's married her. But by the end of all of that, Henry Tudor isn't the current line of succession. It was the Virgin Queen Elizabeth, who was a
York?
a young red-haired woman,
but
past
not a York.
I can't think of what
You
her
don't know
family.
if she was Yorkish?
Yeah, I don't know if she was Yorkish. But that's our current Queen Elizabeth.
Sure, that stuck.
Is in the same line. This princess, through her time, she was from a noble birth. Her brothers were killed. She was passed around from house to house during the war. But from being in all these different noble houses, she was sexually abused, tortured,
And
held
Sansa
captive.
falls into
Sansa is most certainly the Virgin Queen Elizabeth.
Who wins?
She's been around every single major player in the Game of Thrones, learning how to be a major political figure.
Yeah, learn from Littlefinger and Cersei. Learn from the best. And her parents.
And her parents.
The Boltons, you know, how not to do it.
Exactly.
She would be a really good leader. I'm wondering at the same time back about Beric Dondarrion. You know, because Sansa's not really a fighter. Bran has powers, but Sansa could very well die in the Winterfell battle and then be resurrected.
By Beric. And that's a perfect relation to what Beric does in the books with her mom.
Yeah, so that would be a good handover.
Yeah.
But then does that make her, you know, the queen, her and Jon are now undead people? You said the Tudors were in power for a little while, but Dany's, I don't think, you can't kill her in a battle in the dragon in the sky. I mean, that's how the old Targaryens would go out.
Yeah.
The story has been told by George R. R. Martin in a history book, but is that what it is? I don't know.
That's just what I think. That Jon and Dany are meant to save the world, but not meant to lead it.
It makes sense and is very sad.
Yeah, that's the bittersweet. No one really wants Sansa on the throne. She's no one's favorite character, but undeniably a good leader.
I mean, the points that you're making are very poignant. But in the spirit of things, in the unsurety of this show, I think we must roll. Let's do Jon.
Yeah, roll for Jon.
15?
Hi, Jon.
Jon. Nisa. I mean, okay, let's move right along. Daenerys Targaryen.
3.
Oh. Then we're going to Sansa.
Sansa, are you going to inherit this throne?
Perfect
ten.
even. So you're right?
Yes.
You have the magic touch, Chandler?
Magic touch.
Predicts the whole ending and also randomly chosen?
Yes.
There you go. But to do with whether or not the Starks stay together at the Winterfell battle,
It would be interesting if
Sansa, Bran, and Jon, they stick together, but Arya, as an assassin, uses her magical face transforming abilities.
becomes Littlefinger and flees. And when she hears that Bran and Sansa died in the battle, she'll blame herself forever, but she'll be so fueled by rage that she'll head all the way down to King's Landing, get a private audience with Cersei, and start the next Red Wedding, in which there's a whole nother crop of characters who are all in the room together, I think.
But before we talk about that, we have to go through
Speed round number 2.
This is the time where we go quicker.
Edmure Tully, brother to Catelyn, imprisoned,
Has a kid.
has a kid. What is he? What are we gonna do?
I believe he'll be freed and he'll just inherit the Riverlands.
Boom. I agree. We're gonna have to roll for that. Ilan Payne
Will most certainly be killed by Arya.
on camera.
On camera. We will get that moment. In Arya's face. She won't be someone else either. He will know who's killing her.
He's just a mute headsman. What did he have? He just taking orders.
He cut her father's head off.
I could have done that, and I don't think that's my fault. It's all Joffrey. They
But
cut his
she-
tongue out.
But Ilan Payne is on her list. And I
No, that's
do
true.
and I do think that Ilan Payne is probably going to be the only person on her list that she will kill. the remaining people.
Who else are on her list?
Cersei, the Hound, the Mountain. I think that might be it.
Yikes.
A Red Woman. She'll kill the Red Woman. I take it all back.
Oh my god.
The Red Woman will return to Westeros to give some important bit of information they need to defeat the Night King. Arya says, like, you're on my list. And Melisandre looks into her eyes and sees eyes staring back at her. She names the color of the eyes, like green eyes, blue eyes, brown eyes. Eyes you'll close forever.
People you'll kill.
Yeah, people you'll kill.
I see these eyes you'll kill. Does she see her own eyes?
And in that moment, I think she does because she's so terrified.
Yeah, I remember that performance.
Her final line in this last season was, I have to come back to this strange land one more time to die.
And she said that to Varys.
She said,
who, like, we're gonna die.
Yeah, you also have to die in this strange land.
That kind of shit, we have to just give them X's. They're just gonna die because they told us, right?
Yeah, they basically prophesized.
Like, I don't know
their
how
deaths.
Varys is gonna die. Varys is one of my favorite characters.
I think it's gonna be really interesting.
I don't even want to predict anything. I just know he's gonna die and I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I have a theory of how he might die in the books. Quaithe has a prophecy about Daenerys that says she'll have so many betrayals in her life, and one of the betrayals is a betrayal of blood or a betrayal of money. There's a bunch of them, but one of them, it's very unclear which one this one will be, and I think it's Varys, who isn't loyal to Daenerys. He's loyal to Aegon Targaryen in the books,
Right.
which is a little different.
In the show, that might not factor. But he said, I wouldn't betray you, burn me alive if I betray you. He had that whole amazing scene.
That's probably exactly what will happen.
Right. I've always thought that Missandei, speaking of one of her betrayers, I thought Missandei was always a spy, but that story might be kind of up. I think Missandei will live a long and prosperous life.
Now she'll just be the best friend.
Do you think Grey Worm will live?
Yes, Grey Worm will live.
I don't think so. He's a military man. He'll gotta die in the fight.
So we're rolling for it?
Yeah.
7.
It's a 7?
Yep.
That's an odd number.
Yeah, he dies. Unlucky number 7.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's perfect to end his character in some sacrifice.
Within this speedrun, I will hit up the dragons. You mentioned that there will be a final battle between Ice Viserion and Daenerys on Drogon. What's going to happen to Rhaegal?
I do think Rhaegal might die with Jon, just like Drogon would die with Dany. But the bittersweet part of it, I think that we'll see some eggs. It's either that or both dragons will survive and ride off in the sunset together as Jon and Dany
Die? Are dead?
die.
Man.
And that's your bittersweet.
No. I think all dragons will die because we're setting up the modern world. I think all magic will die out with this world. Maybe Bran will let go of the universe, let go of
maybe
the hold that magic has on this world.
Maybe in the event of Bran's death and the death of the Night King, it destroys the magic of everything.
And maybe 2 dragons have died and one just dies because magic is gone.
And then it'll be known as a myth.
We should feel like we're setting up England and the Queen Elizabeth, all these things, there's no dragons.
Yes.
I don't think riding off into the sunset is what they're nuclear bombs. They're not meant.
But the world of Ice and Fire is filled with many strange, gigantic
but
beasts.
now, the story has been this period of time where magic exploded in the world.
That is true.
The beginning of the story was, this is magic coming back, and I think it'll end with magic going away.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Did we just agree on that they all die?
Yeah, you convinced me.
Bronn.
Ooh, Bronn. Bronn's dead.
I definitely think so.
Ooh, that's so sad.
Do you agree?
I don't.
Oh!
I think Bronn will survive and get his 2 castles.
Oh my. It'll be like the Blackwaters. Like, he'll be a new family.
He's Bronn
of
the twins.
Blackwater. He'll get the twins?
He'll get the twins.
Oh
The Freys
my
are
God. Chandler. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that.
Good job, Bronn. You made it, bro. You made the team. We didn't talk about the Hound, who I forgot was in fucking Winterfell.
Yeah, I have a great theory about the Hound. In the fight against the White Walkers, he'll be next to, say, like Beric and Tormund. Beric will tell him he needs to have a flaming sword that'll help defeat, but the Hound won't be able to do it. He's too scared of fire. And in that decision, someone will die. Beric or Tormund.
Yeah.
Tormund, most likely. Because the Hound wasn't able to conquer his fear of fire. And then in the War for the Throne, we will get a Cleganebowl in the show.
The Mountain versus the Hound. It's the battle that happened at the tourney in season 1 that
never got an ending
got an ending to. Okay, we'll talk about Cleganebowl in a second. I think Arya is going to disguise as Peter Baelish. I said that. I think she's a faceless assassin. They just killed him.
The actor's too good to not want
He's the
to
best.
bring him back.
And he died horribly, like a kind of a chump.
Yeah, it definitely took him off guard, which you wouldn't expect.
So it'd be great to see him play Arya.
Yes.
And I think that there's no way she does that and gets to that point without getting face to face with Cersei. I think she will give Cersei a mortal wound that will not kill Cersei immediately. I think it'll be like a stab through the gut.
Oh, and the baby, just like
what happened at the Red Wedding with Rob's
Oh my
thing.
God.
Okay, so Cersei won't die immediately.
Yeah.
I think Jaime will be there. I don't know where Tyrion is. We haven't talked about Tyrion at all because I just think they're going to write him out of dangerous situations to make him live.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm going to put a check on Tyrion
Check.
and not talk about him a lot because he's
check
everyone's
on-
favorite character.
yeah, check
and
on Tyrion.
Shouldn't die.
I think he is going to be the surviving Lannister, that his family's legacy
is Tyrion
is
a Targaryen?
I think if he is, it's not going to be said.
Well, then he's not.
I don't think it helps his story. If anything, his story has the most justice if he really is Tywin's son.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
He's also going to write his own book about his travels because he,
Wouldn't that be great to read a book that was written by Tyrion?
from his perspective.
I wish you long life, George R. R. Martin. Okay, Arya will stab right next to, it might be Jaime who kills Arya, which would be horrible, would be really, but I think it might be the Mountain. I think Ilan Payne will get killed like on his way to the meeting.
Yeah.
Like he'll be walking down with his big sword and like she'll
yeah,
kill
and
him.
Sansa will come in and
Sansa?
yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, Arya.
Right,
will
and
come
Arya,
in.
yeah.
They'll
The
kill-
Mountain might like cut Arya in half.
That'd be so great.
It would be insane, and we would all. But this is like the oh shit moment of the season. That's what the producers said. That there is one more oh shit moment. If Arya got fucking cleaved after stabbing Cersei in the baby gut in front of everybody who's around, you got Cleganebowl happening over here, right next to us.
Oh my God! So the Hound witnesses it,
Yeah, kill Arya.
and then Jaime. Oh, that's so
And then
great.
Jaime doesn't know what to do.
I love it.
I mean, I don't know. Jaime and Cersei are meant to die together.
I think
What happens to Jaime in that moment? For those of you who don't know about that, Cersei got prophesized that the Valonqar, which is a Valyrian word for little brother, which is both of her brothers, so she doesn't know which one is going to choke the life out of her in the end.
with golden hands.
Obviously, this is a big discussion. The whole what's going to happen to Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion thing is like one of the biggest things of the show and the
sure.
books. I still think Arya will do that. Is Jaime going to then,
Finish
just
the
to
job.
make a point,
She's going to be full Mad Queen.
and maybe she'll tell him it wasn't even your baby?
She's gonna be full Mad Queen. It's gonna be cruel, but I think Jaime will kill her the same way Tyrion killed Shay, as in no eye contact.
Oh, shit, man. I don't know the specifics of that because that's something Tyrion might regret, or I don't know how he feels. Shit.
Maybe even this. They're all in the same place, as you said.
Yeah.
Maybe Cersei sees that she might be about to die and tells the Mountain to go kill Tyrion. And in that moment, Jaime chooses Tyrion over Cersei.
Okay, maybe Arya brings Tyrion with her, and maybe it's part of his plan also to use Peter Baelish, and he tries to convince Cersei to trust Peter Baelish, and so when Peter Baelish turns into Arya, stabs her, Cersei orders Jaime to kill Tyrion.
That's perfect. Cersei forces him to choose in that moment. And
My mom is gonna hate hearing me say cut Arya in half more than once.
I don't want it to happen.
But I think she's destined to, like, I think she'll wake up in a wolf in Nymeria.
I just love that theory so
somewhere
much that I
else.
don't even want to say what I
She's
thought Arya was
she's
going to
dead.
do.
Oh, really? What I just said, you love it so much that you're not going to say what you're going to say. What do you have to say? All right, Chandler, what do you got? What's going to happen to Arya?
I thought Arya would survive the whole show, but not want anything to do with Westeros and decide to sail west with a surviving Gendry.
Very sweet. But do you agree now?
Yes, no, that's way better.
I'm glad you think that. That's nice. I think some of your theories are really good too. I'm going to put an X over Arya. Yeah.
X over Arya, I agree.
I'm going to put an X over Cersei.
Yes, X over Cersei.
I'm going to put an X over Jaime.
I disagree.
Amazing.
I think Jaime survives the whole ordeal and becomes the new Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
Holy balls.
Even though I believe oaths won't be the same after all this is done, like, you know, having no wives or land or things like that, I still don't think he'll ever take anyone else.
Oh,
Cersei is the love of his life regardless.
It's going to be really traumatic for him.
In the first season, when he's talking to Jon, he's only putting down the Night's Watch and putting down Jon. So it'd just be ultimate 360 for the character to end up praising it.
I think it would be interesting, and I'll roll for it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a 1.
One, he dies.
That's definitive, I'd say. If you get a 1.
Yeah, 1.
Wow.
Jaime X.
We forgot somebody standing right next to Cersei, Qyburn.
Oh, Qyburn.
He healed Jaime's hand.
Yes.
He's very influential.
He brought the mountain back to life.
Yeah, he'll probably burn.
I think he's going to be so enamored with the White Walkers that that's going to be his end in some way.
That's a beautiful idea, that if the Night's King actually did come to Cersei to make some deal, which would be fucking insane.
Qyburn's going to be like, dude, do it.
I could imagine that the Night King saw through the eyes of the walker that our characters brought Cersei. They brought her walker, and she's like unimpressed, and the Night King's like, that's my lady. That's who I want as my part. Like, somebody who I can, this is the enemy of all these people.
It's an alliance that does make sense.
Qyburn is super dead. He's a cool villain, though. I like him a lot. All right, the Hound in the Mountain, Cleganebowl, the outcome. This has been something that everybody talks about all the time. It's the best.
Earlier in my season 8 prediction, the Hound's fear of fire gets someone killed. And in his fight with his brother in the Cleganebowl, he will end up at some point beheading him. But not slowing him down. Because in the books, he doesn't have a head.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's hinted that he's a headless. He's wearing a helmet, so you don't know.
To make him look like a normal person.
But it's hinted at. And then in the show, they gave him zombied eyes and stuff. I think it'd be great if you think that he wins, beheads him, but it doesn't kill him because he's a zombie.
Yeah.
Being torn in half doesn't do anything to zombies. And he has to face his fear of fire to kill his brother.
Sure.
His fear that his brother gave him.
I love how Qyburn brings the mountain back. He would be fascinated in the White Walkers. I would love how you kill White Walkers with fire would be how our boy, the Hound, needs to kill his brother. I absolutely think fire will come into it, and I think the mountain will die. I think the big question is, does the Hound survive? Any wounds he gets.
In Game of Thrones, too often characters that don't deserve to live do. And it's very debatable that the Hound doesn't deserve to live.
He would be the one person from Arya's list that doesn't die.
Yes.
He knows about her list. He just saw her die in our prediction. Cersei's dying. Ilan Payne is dead in the hallway.
Mountain's dead.
Mountain just died. And
so
he's the last one.
Her list was solved all in one fail.
And that's what
scene.
it's always been meant to be.
Fantastic.
But
I think he survives. I don't even think she wanted to kill him in the first place. She left him for dead because she couldn't kill him herself.
Him and Davos just need to relax on a beach with
they'll
Theon.
Go move somewhere.
I don't know. I think the Hound will get wounded by the mountain in the fight.
And then possibly die later.
Die of his wounds.
I like that too. Shall we roll for it?
Yes, but happy that Arya got her wish.
Yes. Maybe that'll be his last words.
Yeah.
You finished your list, girl.
A 16, that's an even. That's happy days for the Hound. Okay, we have very few left. We talked a little bit about Nymeria making an appearance, the wolf, which Arya ran into and was doing their own thing, leading a big wolf pack. Maybe if Arya dies, we'll see that wolf. I feel like that's an epilogue type thing. That's something I've always thought about.
Yeah. Nymeria will survive. Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost. I'll put them in the same image. The wolves, the remaining wolves are 100% alive. I'm very disappointed in the show for limiting Ghost's screen time with Jon, especially in and around his death.
I think it was just too expensive.
Sure. I guess the wolves never looked too good.
They more just looked like wolves than giant wolves.
Right. It looked a little Twilight.
But I do think we will get some ghost scenes this season. And if Jon dies, I think he survives. Or it's suggested that when Starks die, they warg into their wolves.
Right.
So if both of those Starks were to die, it'd be nice to think they're wolves.
Right. Arya is in a wolf, Jon is in a wolf, Bran is in everything, and Sansa's alive.
Maybe Nymeria and Ghost are together in the end, even though they're dead. So you get the sense Jon and Sansa.
Or Arya. They kept doing that.
Why is...
I'm going to leave them both in now.
Yeah.
Quaithe, you mentioned. Quaithe is a big mysterious thing who was present in Karth.
Yes.
Actually there in season 2. And then the books repeatedly comes back in visions that talk about these 3 betrayals.
Yes.
And all these things. Is the show gonna bring Quaithe back at all?
No. I think they almost regret adding in that character to the show. I don't think she had the same prophecy. She said some cryptic things to Dany, but it was to lead her to the House of the Undying.
It's always like, to go forward, you must go back.
Yeah.
Go to the House of the Undying. It's very straightforward. Yeah.
She's not as important of a character in the show as she was in the books. I don't think we'll see Quaithe again.
Children of the Forest. Are we going to see Children of the Forest who are still alive around the neck?
Yeah, especially since the first planned spin-off is The Long Night. We'll definitely get some children type footage to get us more wondering about those characters.
I agree. Jack and Hagar?
I think they might confirm the fan theory that Syrio and him are the same person.
Oh, the guy who trained her in season 1.
Maybe bring Syrio back for a thing, but he takes off his face and it's Jacket, and you're like, oh, God. He'll have some sort of scene.
He'll have some sort of scene, says Chandler. He's in this last season.
I think he's in this last season.
Keep going, then.
Robert Baratheon has tried to seek the help of faceless men to assassinate people before. He tried to have the faceless men assassinate Daenerys. So it stands within reason that Cersei knows about them.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's how you bring him back. I think Cersei is asking for the help of the faceless men to assassinate
I feel like she'll
someone.
send that call and it'll be teased for us, but that won't work for her. Like, she didn't do it right, or she didn't sacrifice a life enough.
Maybe she asked him, but he knows who she is through Arya, so he's like, fuck that lady.
Yeah, fuck that lady. I did leave one person. It was Tycho Nestoris, the First Bank of Bravos guy. He's the guy who writes Sherlock.
Yes.
He was in this last season.
Yes.
But I heard an article that he was specifically not going to make an appearance.
Oh?
He, as an actor, said, I'm not in there.
The bank just won't be referenced.
Which is weird to me, because I thought that
they were an important part of this.
The debt of the Iron Throne was always going to come back to bite whoever eventually got it.
Yeah.
So I always thought he was going to have one scene. I still would like him to.
Yeah.
But just because he's not mentioned doesn't mean he's dead, unlike Dario Naharis.
Unless you have more to say about Tycho Nestoris.
No. Sherlock's great.
Lady Stoneheart, we talked about it. Has she been alive this whole time? No. Is she going to be alive? Is her story going to be repurposed at all?
I can't tell you how badly I want to see Beric come across Catelyn's dead body and do exactly
years
that.
older. She would look way worse.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Like, I held out hope every single season after season 3.
Every end of episode. Like, this is it.
I don't think she'll show up. It's
Big
sad.
bummer, big bummer.
That's just me, the big major difference between the book and the show.
This is the last one. The Night King.
The Night King.
I'll go as far. He's definitely going to die. Do you think his death is going to be like a Dracula thing where all the whites die when he dies?
They already teased that in the last season, that killing a white kills all the people that he turned. And Beric says, so kill the one that turned them all. We're going to get that Phantom Menace moment.
Terrible Phantom Menace moment.
The control ship has been destroyed. Look!
It is hinted that the Night King isn't one person that's lived all along, but that it recycles itself, like a trait of life. And maybe that's how the Long Night ended. Someone sacrificed their life to be the new Night's King and then led everyone back.
Oh my god.
Because we have characters like Benjen Stark in the show who's come back as Cold Hands, who shows you that dead people can be conscious.
Well, maybe that could be Jon.
Yeah, so maybe Jon will die, be the new Night's King.
And have to be north of the wall.
And
like Orlando Bloom at the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he'll
he can
say,
only come on land to make out with Daenerys once every 10 years.
Yeah, and then Ice and Fire. He is an Ice King. Daenerys is a Fire Queen. That works.
And Sansa explodes off camera.
And Sansa explodes off camera.
Wow. Well, I think we did a lot of predictions that were fucking awesome. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Chandler, for being here on Rules Over Chumps as resident Game of Thrones expert.
Also, thank you to all of the artists that we used to cover this video, including HBO, for creating the beautiful money that paid for the images.
Let us know in the comment section what you think. Who's gonna die? Who's gonna live? Usually I am spending my days playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and if you're interested in that, subscribe. Let us know if you want more Game of Thrones videos from the channel, but we're probably gonna do whatever we feel like.
Rules Over Chumps.
We're getting these ones. We got it, guys. This is it. When you least expect it.
I'm joking.
Well, I expected it, so.
Yeah, you were expecting too much.
We all expected too much.
High expectations. Lower your standards. 2019.